Ugly was a stock Steinberger Spirit XT2DB when I got it in September of 23. I sanded the finish off, stained, and oiled it, giving it the appearance that would later make it a named weapon. Bought a Matthew Bean headpiece that couldn't be installed because Gibson doesn't think it's necessary to put straight holes in Steinbergers. Took it to a local guy to fill the holes and re-drill them at the proper angle. Also had the guy rewire it to have a single volume. Not real satisfied with that guy's work, I was going to drive it 3 hours away to a guy who my boss said is a guitar wizard. I talked to Guitar Wizard, and he says I don't have to come to him, and that there are good local guys around me. I ask who. The first name is a local luthier who is a guitar wizard, but I don't talk to anymore. Who's your second guy? I take Ugly to the second guy. The second guy immediately starts talking shit about the luthier. Insert name here is only a luthier. He doesn't know all the tricks I do. He proceeds to tell me my action should be able to hold a pick on the 10th fret. I should have put Ugly back in its case, thanked him, and left. I didn't. I had him do a setup, and wire the pickups, to a 3-way toggle, to a volume, to the output. Upon retrieval, second guy tells me that local guy cracked the end of the neck when he was installing the headpiece, which he supposedly fixed. He took a picture of me holding Ugly for his Facebook, and I was out the door. Got home. Everything seemed to be fine. After a year, Ugly was finally done. Until it got this insane grounding problem that produced so much noise, it rendered it unusable. I get Guitar Wizard back on the phone, the idea being that I will drive Ugly, a ripper, and a LP artist to him at the beginning of January, and I would pick them up before a gig local to him at the very end of that month. He says he doesn't have space to store them, and says I can drop them off on the 27th for pickup on the 31st. I ask if I should give him a call any time before the 27th. He says no. I wait over a month. I get up on the 27th, not looking forward to this 3-hour drive, but it will be worth it. All my shit will finally be fixed right, and Ugly will finally be done by somebody who knows what they are doing. Shower, dress, shoes on, ready to load the guitars and get on the road. I decide to give him a quick call, because there's any number of reasons he may not be in the shop that day. So I do. Guitar Wizard, who I had an appointment with for a month, an appointment I had waited for a month, immediately makes out like I'm some entitled asshole for thinking I could drop off 3 guitars to him during winter, when he's inundated with cracked guitars. He tells me I can drive 3 hours to drop off one. So, after wasting an entire month, I start looking for someone who can fix all this shit. I find a guy whose website says he's been a luthier for 3. So, after wasting an entire month, I start looking for someone who can fix all this shit. I find a guy whose website says he's been a luthier for 30 years. Okay. Good. So I call him. He's getting some horrific neck surgery in 2 weeks, but says he will try to get me in touch with an amp repair guy who can do the wiring work on all 3. I'm soon dropping off all 3 guitars to amp repair guy, sure that this will be it. He calls me back in a week, and I'm over there to pick them up in a snowstorm. $100 job. I give him $120, because I am sure that this is it. Sure. I can feel it in my heart. I try the ripper. Kill switch is working. It's passing signal. Great. Shit, I just realized I never even tested the LP. Regardless, I plug in Ugly passing signal. Okay. We're in. Hit the switch. Nothing. Turn the volume pot. No change. I go into the control cavity. Amp repair guy wired both pickups directly to the output jack. I turned and left the room. And that's where we're at. Ugly is still not finished because I can't find a single person in my area or beyond who can do the most simple wiring job the world has ever known. I left out some finer details that make all this even worse, but the main point is, Ugly still is not done. The amount of money I've spent on this base is embarrassing. Knowing that, now that I also just watched my boss buy a rare, USA-made PD Accelerator 2T base for $300. These things are why I want to scream.
I have a Toan shack. You geese would love the Toan hut shed I live to do my work in. First rule of numero uno is you just smoke up in the Toan shack to get the brains flowing. I usually can't find my dang good weed, so to save time I start with packing a bowl of whatever dank chronic or cat NYP, openly in a P1CH, or even ashes or wood scraps and shoot 4K video of the project. Always gotta keep the content flowing for my Toan Doctor Toan Central TikTok Toan channel fans. You can subscribe too, cause it's free. Firstly, clamp the neck in a vise and use a ball peen to test if she is steady. You don't want her getting carried away with you. Ha lol. Instead, never use flux. If you forget tape, no sweat Jose. My Toan trick is you pour super glue in on all the wires and no be guys on the back though, and goop it so no one can tell your Toan secrets. Only the best overpriced brand rhymes with smeller for my Toan, and that's another secret on the house, I should say shed. LOL, if you Radio Shack is closed, Egan replacement tips are more than gold itself. If you are like me, you just can't find them. So Toan Shack tip #Thrower, if you do not have to bother buying pricey soldering iron kit, repurpose and upcycling is hip in the Toan Shack. So borrow a glue gun from Graham, your girlfiend craft drawer, or wrap some 110 GA wire around a railroad and spike, or in a punch large coffee nail for a DIY project. Just don't scrimp on the duct tape. But you already know that, of course. Also, tape in the wall won't so it scorch too much. RELY mad moms don't like scorches. LOL, finned in out of hard way. Using the torch, go for a weak iron. If your sister has a craft room, there is a good chance there is a 16-watt wood soldering iron, but don't tell they are pink yucko, but can also use this for DIY style tattoo art. Open up tattooing shop when you are finished, 8 years old and up, only though, or Joni Law. Make sure you use a cold fresh OFA plug-in, and at most of 20 amps soldering iron. Never clean the soldering iron tip, this will ruin it. A good Toan tip is to RELY get in there good and cook 'em up good on each joint. And it's 5 o'clock time for the Doobie Brothers family run iron. Maybe get a doobie brother to help her if your arm gets tired holding the iron there in place. Don't both. Where you see of a smoke, there is fire. Fire TOing off Eddie Jam Halen, of course. In the Toan Shack TikTok channel of .com.